Hi, everyone. Glad you're here. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of how I discovered my husband's little secret dinner date and how I decided to bring his mom along to watch the show. Let me set the scene. I've been married to my husband for 7 years. 7 years of ups, downs, inside jokes, Netflix arguments, and the occasional who left the laundry in the machine for 3 days fight. You know, normal marriage stuff. We had this tradition. Our favorite restaurant, our spot, you know. The kind of place. Dim lights, overpriced pasta, a wine list that makes you think you suddenly understand French. That was our place. Anniversaries, birthdays, even when we got our first promotion at work, we went there. It wasn't just food, it was a symbol. At least, to me. To him? Apparently, it was more like a discount Groupon for romance with whoever was available. I started noticing things a few months before it all blew up. The late nights at work suddenly multiplied. He used to toss his phone anywhere, on the couch, the counter, even in the bathroom. Suddenly his phone became the holy grail. Always face down, always in his pocket, and God forbid it buzzed when I was in the room. One night, I picked up his jacket to hang it, and it smelled like a perfume I don't wear. And definitely not. The $12 body spray from Target. This was high-end. The kind of scent that says, I belong to a woman who's trying to be mysterious but really just maxed out her Sephora card. At first, I told myself I was imagining things. Marriage does that. You gaslight yourself before anyone else has to. Maybe he's just stressed. Maybe I'm paranoid. Maybe Victoria's Secret is running a new Eau d'Office collection and he's their ambassador. But deep down, I knew. I just didn't have proof. Yet the proof came to me on a random Thursday. My friend texted me, Hey, I just saw your husband downtown. Is he supposed to be at work? He told me he was working late. Again, so naturally. I did what any sane wife would do. I asked for details. She said he wasn't alone. He was with a woman, blonde, laughing, and not the kind of laugh you do with your coworkers when you talk about spreadsheets. The kind of laugh that comes with a hand on the arm. That was my first punch in the gut. The second came the next day, when another friend, totally unrelated, sent me a photo she posted on Instagram. Just a random shot of the restaurant district. Downtown. Guess who was in the background? My husband, sitting at our restaurant, at our table, with his girlfriend, and the cherry on top. He ordered my favorite dish. I swear I could see it in the picture. My pasta, my garlic bread, my husband, and his new love. I sat there staring at the screen and thought, wow, he took her to our place. He didn't even get creative. 0 points for originality, A+ for stupidity. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to throw things. I wasn't even going to cry. I was going to make this man regret ever thinking I was dumb enough not to notice. So here's where most people expect me to cry, eat ice cream, maybe call my therapist, or at least key his car. Nope. I wanted something better. Something poetic. Something that would make him choke on that overpriced pasta he dared to feed another woman. And then it hit me. The one person he'd never want to see him cheating? His mother. Now, let me explain. My mother-in-law thinks her son is basically the second coming of Christ. She calls him her golden boy. In her eyes, he can do no wrong. And sure, she side-eyes me sometimes. But deep down, she believes he's the perfect husband. Spoiler alert, he's not. So I thought, why not bring his biggest fan to the premiere? Of his downfall, I called her up. Hi, Mom, I said, as cheerful as a sitcom character with a hidden agenda. Oh, sweetheart, she answered, thrilled to hear from me. How are you and my son doing? Oh, just wonderful, I lied through my teeth. Actually, he planned a little dinner at our favorite restaurant tonight. Such a surprise. And I thought, what would make it even better? If you came too, he'd be so happy to see you there. Now you have to understand, she loves that restaurant almost as much as we do. She's been begging him for years to take her there. And suddenly, here's her chance. Really? He planned that for you two? Oh, he's such a romantic. She gushed. I smiled. Oh, you have no idea. We agreed to meet right outside the restaurant at 7 p.m. I dressed nicely, but not too nicely. I wanted to look like the wife who wasn't trying too hard. The wife who already won the role. She showed up in pearls, actual pearls, She looked like she was about to attend the royal wedding. Her excitement was radiating off her. I can't wait to see his face, she said. "Dotto, Mom." I thought. You really can't. We walked in together. The host recognized me immediately, after all I'd been there dozens of times with my husband. "Table for two?" she asked. "Actually," I said, pointing to the back corner, "we'll join them." I'll never forget the look on my husband's face. He was mid-laugh, holding her hand across the table, candlelight flickering on their 2 glasses of wine. And then he saw me. And then he saw his mom. If looks could kill, he'd be 6 feet under and I'd be serving appetizers at his funeral. "Hi, honey," I said sweetly, sliding into the booth next to his mom. "Wow, looks like a lovely dinner." "Oh, and you ordered my favorite pasta. How thoughtful." His girlfriend froze. She looked like she wanted to evaporate into the breadbasket. She tried to smile, but it came out like a grimace. "Oh, hi, I'm just, Before she could finish, his mom leaned forward, pearls practically glowing under the candlelight. "Son," she said in her mom voice. "Who is this?" Dead silence. The restaurant had background music playing, but I swear even the violinist paused mid-bow to hear the answer. My husband stuttered. This is just a coworker." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, really? Do you hold all your coworkers' hands over candlelight dinners at your wife's favorite restaurant?" The girlfriend tried to pull her hand away, but too late. The damage was done. My mother-in-law gasped. I mean, actually gasped, like she was auditioning for a soap opera. "You're cheating on your wife? In this restaurant? Where you two?" "Always go together," her voice echoed. People turned, forks froze midair. Suddenly, this was less a dinner and more a live reality show. And guess who was the star? So here's where things got really interesting. After I had my little therapy session with his phone, I decided to play it cool for a while. You know that sweet spot where you're not screaming, not crying, not accusing, just quietly plotting? That's where I lived for about a week. I didn't confront him. I didn't hint. I didn't do the cliché "who's Amanda" routine. Oh no. I wanted a show, a finale, a standing ovation type of reveal. Because if my marriage was going to go down in flames, I was at least going to enjoy the fireworks. And tie. Then, like divine intervention, the universe handed me the perfect opportunity. Guess what restaurant my dear husband picked for his secret date with Amanda? Our restaurant. Our place. The spot where we had our first anniversary dinner. Where he once gave me a necklace for my birthday. Where the waiters literally knew us by name. The audacity. The disrespect. The stupidity. So I made a reservation too. Same day. Same time. Same restaurant. Except I wasn't coming alone. No. I needed a guest star. Someone who would make this whole spectacle absolutely unforgettable. And then it hit me. His mom. Listen, you don't understand. His mom loves me. Like, sometimes I think she likes me more than him. She's always been the type to say things like, "You're the best thing that's ever happened to my son." I knew if she saw her precious boy two-timing me, she wouldn't just be disappointed, she'd be furious. And I wanted him to feel that double-edged sword, the wrath of a betrayed wife and the eternal shame of letting down mommy dearest. So I called her. I didn't tell her everything right away, just enough to get her curious. I said, "Hey, I was wondering if you'd like to grab dinner with me at Bella Nade this Friday. I think there's something you should see." She didn't ask questions. She just said, "Of course, sweetheart. I'll be there." Fast forward to Friday night. I got dressed up. Not like revenge dressed up. I'm talking classy, elegant, the kind of outfit that says, "I'm thriving, and you're the loser here." Black dress, subtle heels, perfect makeup. I looked like the version of myself he should have been grateful for, but clearly wasn't. His mom arrived first. She hugged me, complimented my outfit, and asked in that innocent motherly tone, "So, what's this all about?" I just smiled and said, "You'll see. Just keep your cool until the right moment." We sat down, ordered a bottle of wine, and waited. And then Oh, the moment. The door opened, and in walked my husband, hand in hand with Amanda. Now, let me tell you, Amanda was underwhelming. I don't mean that in a bitter way. Okay, maybe a little bitter. But she was literally just average, like if beige paint were a person. But there she was, clinging to him like some cheap handbag, all while my husband strutted in like he owned the place. They got seated just 2 tables away from us. Perfect view. Perfect stage. His mom noticed immediately. She squinted, tilted her head, and whispered, "Is that—" "Yep," I said, sipping my wine. "And that's—" "His girlfriend," I said, with the same casual tone you'd use. To mention the weather. Her jaw dropped. Her face turned red. And I swear she almost stood up right then and there. But I grabbed her hand under the table and whispered, "Not yet. Let's enjoy the show." We watched as they ordered drinks, laughed, leaned in close, played footsie under the table. And every second, his mom's face got redder and redder. She looked like she was about to explode. I, on the other hand, felt strangely calm, almost serene. Like the calm before a storm you know you're about to unleash. Finally, I decided the timing was right. I set my glass down, looked at her, and said, "Shall we?" She didn't need more instructions. She was up before I was, marching straight toward their table like a woman on a mission. I followed, trying not to smirk too hard. The look on my husband's face when he saw us. Priceless. His eyes widened, his jaw dropped, and he stammered out something like, What are you doing here?" His mom didn't even give me the chance to speak. She went full mama bear. "What the hell do you think you're doing? Bringing this girl to the restaurant you and your wife share? Do you have any idea how ashamed I am of you right now?" Amanda looked like she wanted to sink into the floor. She tried to let go of his hand, but he held on, probably out of panic. Wrong move. His mom smacked his hand off the table and snapped, "Don't touch her in front of me!" I couldn't resist adding a little spice. I leaned in, smiled sweetly at Amanda, and said, "Hi, I'm his wife. Lovely to finally meet you. Did he tell you this was our place? Or did he just forget to mention that little detail between drinks?" Amanda's face turned pale. She grabbed her purse, muttered something like, "I didn't know," and bolted out of there. And there he was, my husband, sitting in silence, red-faced. His mother glaring at him like he was the biggest disappointment of her life. And me, standing there calm, collected, savoring every second. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just smiled, leaned down, and whispered, "Enjoy your dinner. You'll be needing it, because it's the last meal you'll ever have with me." And then I walked out. His mom followed me, still muttering about how she raised him better, how she couldn't believe this, how he embarrassed the entire family. Let's just say, it was the most satisfying walk I've ever taken. We didn't go home together. I mean, obviously. His mom and I walked out first. She was so furious she forgot her clutch on the table. I doubled back to grab it, and in that 5-second detour, I caught a last glimpse of him. Frozen, humiliated, holding 2 checks he didn't know how to pay. The bill and the cost of his dignity. Outside. His mom paced like a detective who'd just solved the case but couldn't figure out how the suspect got this dumb. 7 years? She kept repeating. 7 years and he brings her there? She tried to apologize to me for him, something she didn't owe me but did anyway. We hugged. She smelled like citrus and hairspray and righteous rage. On the drive back, my phone turned into a slot machine of notifications, vibrating, buzzing, lighting up the car like a tiny lightning storm. First came the text. Him. It wasn't what it looked like. Me. Then I'm blind, and the waiter was conducting a magic show with your hands. Him. Please come home. We need to talk. Me. You had a lot to say over pasta. I'll let you finish your monologue there. Then came the calls. Then FaceTimes. Declined. Then the voice messages. Those little audio essays where people think if they sound desperate enough, the sound will rewrite reality. I saved them all. Not because I needed more proof. The restaurant scene was already engraved in my memory, like a carving on a tombstone, But because a paper trail is a beautiful thing when you're about to become a woman with a plan, his mom asked if I wanted her to sleep over. I said yes, not because I was scared, but because I wanted a witness. Also, it felt poetic. If he got to hold someone's hand in our place, I got to hold his mother's hand in our home. We made tea. We didn't whisper. We laughed, softly at. First, then louder, the way you laugh when the worst has already happened and suddenly the air gets lighter because there's nothing left to dread. We planned logistics between sips. "What are you going to do?" she asked. "Clean house?" I said. Financially, emotionally, legally, not necessarily in that order. She nodded like a general approving a battle map. At 1:23 a.m., the deadbolt clicked. He came home with grocery store roses and the kind of sheepish expression you see on toddlers and politicians. He actually tried the shocked romantic combo. Flowers in one hand, the other hand open in surrender. "Can we talk?" he asked, eyes flicking to his mother like she might jump in with cue cards. "We're listening," I said, not moving from the couch. His mom crossed her arms so tight the pearls creaked. He launched into a speech about confusion, work stress, feeling unappreciated. I waited, counting his cliches like receipts. When he finally ran out of synonyms for "I did something stupid," I asked one question. "How many times?" He blinked. "What?" "How many times did you take her there? Was tonight the first performance? Or just the first one with an audience?" Silence. Then the telltale throat swallow. The sound men make right before the truth crawls out and hisses. "Twice," he said. Which, in cheater math, means more. I stood up, took the roses, and set them gently in the trash. "You can take the can with you," I said. "Practice carrying out what you bring in." His mom didn't speak. She didn't have to. She just pointed down the hallway to the guest room. "You're not sleeping in that bed," she said, meaning our bed, meaning the bed he'd downgraded to a prop in his rehearsals. He opened his mouth to protest, then he closed it. Good choice. I slept like a stone. Morning came clean and bright, like the day had been pressure washed. I put on coffee, opened my laptop, and turned into the kind of woman banks fear. I wasn't messy, I wasn't mean, I was meticulous. Joint account. I moved my half to a separate account with my name only. Credit cards. I removed myself from his personal, removed him from mine, and closed the one we barely used. Streaming services. I changed the passwords. Petty? Maybe. Satisfying? Deeply. Let him watch the buffering icon contemplate its choices. Find my iPhone, disabled location sharing. Not because I was hiding, but because he'd lost the privilege of access to my life. Then I called a lawyer. The receptionist asked if I wanted a consultation. This week. I said, today. Desperation is chaotic. Decisiveness is calm. I was calm. At noon, I met my lawyer, a woman with sharp eyes and flat shoes, my favorite kind. I told her everything. Dates, screenshots, the restaurant, the mother-in-law as unassailable witness. She didn't flinch. She slid a legal pad across the desk and said, "Tell me what outcome feels like justice." "Boundaries," I said first. Then freedom. Then closure, she smiled. "We can work with that." We sketched out the timeline of dignity, her phrase, which I loved. First the separation agreement, then the division of assets, then the divorce filing. Nothing dramatic, just an honest unbraiding. When I got home, he was in the kitchen trying to look helpful by unloading the dishwasher too loudly. His mom sat at the table watching him like he was a raccoon she'd reluctantly allowed inside. "I spoke with an attorney," I said, laying the folder on the table. He inhaled like the papers might bite him. "I don't want to lose you," he said. "You should have thought about that when you ordered her dessert," I replied. Also, our dessert. My favorite. Imagine cheating and stealing someone's garlic bread. That's 2 sins. His mom snorted. I continued. "Here are my terms for the next 30 days. You'll stay at the guest house your uncle never uses. You'll take your clothes, your gym trophies, the blender you insisted on buying, and your ego. Everything else stays. On Saturday, I'll Box what's left for you. We'll schedule pickups, no pop-ins, no surprises. He stared like I'd written the Constitution in lipstick. Then he nodded. Okay. Also, I added, you're calling your mother every night for the next week to tell her exactly what you did and how you're fixing it. Consider it moral cardio. His mother slapped the table, delighted. Yes, I accept those terms. He opened his mouth, then shut it again. The theme of the week. That week did something funny. It turned my relationship with his mother from polite to steel. We became allies. She was embarrassed, yes, but she was also furious on my behalf. She called me every morning. Did you sleep? Did you eat? Do you need me to come over and help pack his baseball caps? She arrived one afternoon with 3 sizes of storage bins, a label maker, and lemon bars. Do you want to keep these? She asked, holding a stack of jerseys that smelled like old victories and new lies. No, I said, but I'll keep the hangers. We created an assembly line. Keep, donate, return to sender. Every return to sender box got a sticky note. I kept my comments PG-13. For when you need to sprint away from accountability, on his running shoes. Blends excuses and smoothies, on the blender. Participation trophy, declined, on a plaque. We didn't break anything. We didn't hide anything. We just made everything extremely clear. On Thursday, I got a text from an unknown number. Unknown. I'm so sorry, I truly didn't know he was married. It was Amanda. I stared at the message for a long time. Ignoring her would have been within my rights. But here's the thing. I wasn't angry at her anymore. Not really. My anger had a new, precise address, and it was registered under my husband's name. Me. I appreciate you saying that. I'm not interested in a friendship, but I hope you choose better. He's not complicated. He's irresponsible. That's different. Amanda. Understood. For what it's worth, I left that night and blocked him. Me. For what it's worth, good choice. And I. That was that. No sisterhood reunion, no revenge coalition, just 2 women exiting the same burning room through different doors. I don't like chaos. I like choreography. So when people ask me, what was your revenge? I tell them it wasn't a headline. It was a sequence. Financial clarity. I emailed him an itemized spreadsheet of every shared cost for the last 3 months, highlighting every purchase at our restaurant that occurred without me. No commentary, just math. I CC'd myself and printed a copy for his mother's fridge. Social clarity. I didn't blast him on social media. I posted a single photo of me and his mother at a coffee shop, smiling, captioned, "New boundaries, new chapter." My DMs. Filled with, "Are you okay?" I replied, "I am now." Symbolic clarity. I returned to the restaurant the following week, alone. I sat at our table, my table, and ordered my favorite dish. The host, who'd watched the chaos unfold, comped, "Dessert. You deserve this," she said. I tipped 30% and left laughing. The table didn't feel haunted anymore. It felt reclaimed. And yes, somewhere in there, I allowed myself some small doses of pettiness that tasted like justice. I unsubscribed him from my Spotify family plan. I reset the smart thermostat schedule to the temperatures I like. I renamed the Wi-Fi from Home Sweet Home to Honesty Required. Password. Bye forever. Therapeutic. Extremely. On day 10, he asked to talk. We sat in the living room like negotiators. He'd shaved. Guilt had given him cheekbones. He started with the classics: therapy, accountability. It meant nothing. Then he waded into the modern stuff: inner child, attachment style, fear, of intimacy, all the glossy words people use when they need to dress their choices in psychology. "Let me stop you," I said. "I'm not your therapist. I'm the woman who kept the lights on while you dimmed the ones in your head. Do the work if you want, but don't sell me tickets." He nodded, eyes shiny. "Do you hate me?" "I wish I did," I said honestly. Hate is simple. What I feel is clarity. You showed me who you are when no one's watching. I'm just adjusting the lighting. He cried. I didn't. That's not a victory. It's simply where we were. He asked for a hug. I shook my head. No. He stood up like a man leaving a confessional without absolution. On his way out, he turned back. What will you tell people? The truth, I said. Short version, you gambled a marriage for appetizers. He laughed, one astonished broken sound, and left. The legal part moved forward with a confident hum. We negotiated the split, like adults who'd been to war together and decided to lay down arms, not for each other, but for themselves. He kept the car he loved. I kept the house I made a home. He kept the blender. I bought a better one, the kind that pulverizes lies and ice without overheating. We didn't fight over the couch or the dishes. We fought once about the Christmas ornaments, tiny labeled boxes of memories, and then both of us stopped, embarrassed. There are ways to be petty that make you feel powerful, and ways that make you feel small. We let the ornaments go to Goodwill, a tiny act of mercy for two people who'd run out of it. His mother came to the signing. She hugged me so long the paralegal cleared her throat. I'm not choosing sides, she said. I'm choosing, right? I told her she didn't have to choose at all. We promised coffee once a month. We kept it. When the decree came through, I took myself to dinner. Not to that restaurant, another one. New lights, new table, new story. I ordered champagne and toasted the most painful and necessary truth I've learned. Someone else's betrayal can become your boundary. On my way home, I stopped by our restaurant, my old table visible through the window, empty, waiting for anyone who thinks candlelight can hide anything. I smiled, wished it well, and kept walking. People always ask me when I knew I was okay again. It wasn't when I changed the passwords, or when the papers were signed, or even when the Wi-Fi name made me giggle at 2 a.m. It was the morning I woke up and my first thought wasn't a replay. It was a plan for the day that didn't include shrinking myself to fit someone else's excuses. I decluttered. I learned how to spackle a wall. TikTok is powerful. I moved the furniture, and with it, something inside me moved too. My therapist, yes, I got one, proactive, not reactive, said, I'd been living in a house he helped build, but I alone kept livable. You don't have to abandon it, she said. You can renovate. So I did. New paint in the hallway, a mirror that made the morning light look softer, plants that refused to die. I hosted friends for a pasta night where we deliberately burned the garlic bread a little because imperfect things can be delicious too. He texted once more months later. A simple, I'm sorry. I typed and deleted a dozen responses, then sent the only one that still felt true. Thank you for the clarity. Then I set a new rule for myself. Once a boundary is established, it's not a door. I stuck to it. His mother and I still get coffee. We don't talk about him much. We talk about lemon bars and movies and whether I should get a dog. I should. Sometimes she tears up and apologizes again for what she thinks she didn't see. I squeeze her hand and remind her. His choices were his. Our strength is ours. If you're wondering about Amanda, last I heard she moved to another city. I wish her well. In the private theater of my mind, I imagine her at a new restaurant, laughing for real this time, with someone who knows how to hold a hand without dropping a promise. And me? I go back to our restaurant every few months, not to haunt the past, but to keep the promise I made to myself. Nothing taken from me stays gone if I decide to reclaim it. The host seats me by the window. The garlic bread arrives warm. The waiter doesn't look at me with pity anymore. He looks like he's glad. I made a reservation for one and brought the best company I have, myself. Okay, friends, your turn. If you found out your partner took someone else to your special place, what would your poetic justice look like? Would you go loud, go legal, or go clever? Tell me in the comments, give this video a like if it helped you breathe a little easier today, and subscribe for more true stories with a little spice on top. Thanks for being here. See you in the next one. Bye.